Welcome everyone to this webinar. Today we're going to discuss about how to modernize, to accelerate your integration with Integration Suite as part of the webinar themed series by SAP Unify Everything with SAP Integration Suite. The capabilities are limitless, so we want to show you in this packed session what it's all about. Yeah, we can go actually to the agenda to show you what topics we have prepared for you to discuss. Want to let you know that I'm together here. My name is Sander Kool. I'm here together with Ankit Kesawani. We're both in-depth integration specialists for a long time, both I think over a decade here in the industry, even longer. And all we do, or most of our knowledge, is around enabling SAP integration. We have a 30 to 45-minute packed session about these different topics that you see in front of you. And if you're wondering, how to use the most value out of Integration Suite in terms of connecting your S/4HANA or SAP-led ecosystem and how to standardize, how to accelerate, you're at the right address. So here we're going to tackle all those topics, as well as what can you do with integration content and AI adapter-driven use cases in addition to that. So very important to highlight in these different topics. I will go one through them, like the third-party connectivity with SAP B2P. We will explain how there's so many applications out there, how to connect them, how to standardize that. Then what is the best way to do it? Like how can you actually, integrate with all these variety of different applications according to the best practices that are there and the best practices within SAP. So we have a few different options, and Ankit will explain what are the pros and cons of each of them. To consider that for each integration step that you're setting with SAP Integration Suite. And then ultimately, we want to show you what you can do with some of the newly released adapters and show you a captivating demo about how to use the AI adapter, and also give you a heads up about what is possible today with agentic integration and how you can utilize that those concepts there, and hopefully it triggers some thought about what you can do with Integration Suite and what you can do in the future and which use cases are possible there. Last, we want to show you that we as SAP partners, we're strong at bringing the best practices and making it available across globally. And that's also a very strong proposition of SAP B2P Integration Suite. Not just the capabilities on how to integrate, but it's the rich repository of standardized best practice integration to get you started right away. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, build everything from scratch. And here we contribute heavily with SAP to actually make available for global use cases, for global customers, for anyone that has SAP Integration Suite, the best practices for different business process integrations, and to show, actually to give you templates that you can start already using integration content from scratch. So it means that like 70 to 80% will get already accelerated in your delivery, and we will talk to you as the fifth topic about that. Then our session is interactive, so please feel free to use the Q&A options here in this session to ask any question that you have. Actually, we're very open to that, because the questions that you ask, we can be more specific and highlight specific cases that can help you further. So it's really recommended to ask a question. In the end, we have reserved time to go through these questions and give you the answers to these questions. So looking forward to that. Let's go to the next part. You might wonder, you're talking a lot about SAP, but who is Rogo? Hope some of you will know us from our work in the community. We work with SAP for a long time, and we are a strategic partner with them since 2011. And we are also partnering with different other, let's say SaaS applications, because in the end, the third-party connectivity, that's really our sweet spot where we come in a lot. We help S/4HANA, ECC, still a lot of customers are using ECC as well, to integrate with our third-party SaaS using Integration Suite and using the best practices there. Our services, it's on the next slide. You will see the split between our three main services: consultancy software, which is about, for example, the adapters and the content, and managed services. But one thing at the bottom, which you can argue is on the bottom, or it's actually a very important kind of focus that we have, is the augmented integrator. So what can we do today already with agentic AI, and how we're doing it with our customers in the community, even embedded in our integration content offerings, that I just explained. So that we will also highlight, and we will also give you a link to another session that's coming up later this year, where we talk in more detail about all those agentic AI use cases within Integration Suite, within the SAP context. If we go, one last thing before mentioning, if we go back now, I will not say back in time, but if you use the different methods of getting your knowledge up to date, and you're using the books, and you're a long part of this community, then you must know some of these pivotal books about process orchestration, cloud integration, and we as Rogo, we are co-authors together with SAP on these books. So I think it's also a really good moment to pass it on to my colleague Ankit, to actually start explaining and introducing the topics related to the best practice of integration with third-party adapters. And we'll pass it on to him. So if you have any questions, please raise it in the chat, in the Q&A options, and we will discuss it at the end of the session. Over to you, Ankit.
Thank you, Sander. Thanks for setting the context and giving the background. So for topic of the today is third-party connectivity in SAP ecosystem. I will begin by saying a sentence, which is, we live in a world of more. But how is it related to this topic today? So if we look across enterprises, one thing which we notice commonly is that applications are increasing at an exponential rate across. And why is it happening? So each department in an enterprise wants to have their own application. Even sometimes for their own specific process, they need a particular application because it is efficient, it is more practical for them to use and solves the purpose for them or the problem for them, right? But because of this, and these departments have their let's say visibility across the globe, these applications gets multiplied for each department, process, and so on, right? And because of this increasing application, the need of integration is more and more as we go along, right? All these applications mostly are SaaS in nature, and since these are SaaS application, they have their own updates, and these updates are mostly quarterly in nature. So what does it mean? As an integration, we have to make sure whenever there is an update to these applications, our integration doesn't get impacted. We are able to absorb the new features which is coming in the SaaS application in our integrations. So for integration team, it becomes quite a task that for every new application which is onboarded in the enterprise, for every new update which is coming in the enterprise, we make sure that we are able to first deliver those integration, and then from operations standpoint, we are able to absorb those changes coming in the applications with each update. And as an integration team and as an enterprise, it is not an easy task to do, right? Because not every enterprise is just focused on IT, right? They have their own main business to solve, and this goes in parallel. So to maintain all these applications and integration around it is quite a big task. So it's important as a team, we have a right strategy that how we are integrating with these applications, and we are choosing the right options across SAP ecosystem when we have to integrate these applications across with each other through different iPaaS solutions. So this is the problem statement, but what is the solution to it? So if we look in SAP, let's say solutions, we have SAP Business Technology Platform, which is used for all your custom developments and integration as well. So integration is part of BTP from service standpoint, right? And I will come to the part of challenges and problems with it. But before going to that, the third-party connectivity. So when we look across the SAP ecosystem, in ecosystem, we have multiple services within BTP, and within BTP, we have SAP Integration Suite. Within Integration Suite, we have different integration capabilities, which is required to integrate these applications, integrate with for B2B connectivity, or to integrate with different, let's say, government websites also for tax purposes. And out of all these integrations, we would be focusing on third-party integration specifically today. But to summarize here, from integration standpoint and all these applications, integration suite have the capabilities to solve all these integration challenges which comes with uh, all these applications and different requirements of integration for these applications. But today, our focus will be on more on third-party applications and how we can make it more efficient, with and reduce the complexity when we are integrating with these applications. So whenever we start with an integration projects here, as an integration team, we have one common challenge, which is that how should we connect to these applications? And whenever we look at this challenge, we solve it in few ways. One is either we go towards HTTP adapter, where we say, okay, we will be using a HTTP adapter to connect to this third-party application, but is it the right way? Is it scalable? Is it something which can easily maintain from operation standpoint? Maybe we can do it for the first time, but whenever there's a new update coming, whenever there's a change coming in the application, is it easy to maintain? Is it easy to change? That's a question. So, and for that, if we compare across between the HTTP connector and a standard connector for that particular application, what we will notice is that if you're going towards HTTP adapter, the implementation time is quite big, because we have to, as developers, come up with the whole custom code, which will help us authenticate with those applications. It will require us to maintain all those code in the production to for every update which is coming. We will have to put all the orchestration logic ourselves to handle the application complexity, and then only we will be able to integrate with that particular application using HTTP connector. On the other side, if we are using standard third-party adapters available in SAP Integration Suite, our configuration time reduces to a big, almost 2 weeks, right? Or almost 2 days from weeks. What does it mean? So as an integration developer, if I was working, I don't have to handle any authentication problem. It is already solved in the adapter. If as an integration developer, I was writing all those codes, it's already available out of the box in these adapters. From orchestration point of view also, we don't need to go into details of those and understand that, which takes a lot of time, because in adapters we already have those options available and that has been taken care for the developers. So it's more of a configuration rather than development in that scenario. And here we have to just focus on our business process rather than focusing on the complexity of that application and nitty-gritties around it. So that's the benefit which we get when we start using third-party adapter in comparison to HTTP connector. And this is an example of how it looks like when I'm using an application-specific adapter versus HTTP equivalent adapter. So here, if you see here, I'm more configuring, okay, which operation I want to use, which API version I want to use, my credential, that's it. On the other side, I have to manage all that orchestration in a code. I will have to handle the token. I will have to handle the session of those integration. I will have to understand how each operation is working and has to be taken care of. In case of application specific adapter, that is being taken care of. You're already getting these schemas available for you, which you can just start mapping according to your business process and then use it. That's how the difference comes in from weeks to days. On the other side, there's another option which many times we as developers choose, is choosing open connectors. So it's not a wrong option, but we have to understand what it brings itself with, right? So when we are choosing an open connector, we have to understand that though it is part of integration suite, but it is an additional layer of integration, which is adding latency to my integration at first place. And second, it is adding additional cost for us because it's an additional services which I'm using on top of my SAP Cloud Integration to connect to that particular application. So it's not just about latency, it's also about the cost which is getting added up, right? And from monitoring point of view, it's also a challenge. So if something fails, I'm not just troubleshooting in my SAP Cloud Integration, where I'm building my integration, I'm also looking at my open connectors if something can fail there. So I'm extra point of failure for us from operation standpoint. On the other hand, if we talk about application specific adapters, here it is inbuilt within cloud integration. So all the adapters which is available within SAP integration suite, they are part of the same framework. So it's not leaving, it's not adding any latency to it. And on top of it, since it is part of your own integration suite, it does not have any extra message cost or license cost. And from operation standpoint also, it is much easier to troubleshoot if there is any error in our integration because of the connectivity. So that's the benefit which you get when you're using HTTP using application specific adapter in comparison to open connectors. Okay, so before I go towards the demo part of it, I would like to sum up it with an example that what happens when we use HTTP adapters, what happens when we use open connectors. And I would like to take an example here. So if we imagine that our enterprise is like a city, and within a city, we have multiple neighborhoods, and each neighborhood is like an application in that case. So it can be HR, one neighborhood, finance, one neighborhood, and so on and so forth, right? Whenever we have to travel from one neighborhood to another neighborhood, we are integrating technically, right? And we can either take internal routes from one neighborhood to neighborhood, or we can take highways. If we are so using an HTTP adapter is almost taking long winding routes between these neighborhoods, which is one, very slow. Second, it is taking me a lot of extra time to travel to reach my destination. If I'm using Open Connector, it's almost like taking the highway, but I have to go via a toll booth where I have to one wait and adding in latency and also pay extra for it. And if I'm using the SAP adapters, which is out of the box available, I'm taking the highways without any toll booth. So it's direct connectivity, more efficient, and the fastest route which I'm taking to reach my destination. So that's how I would like to sum it up. By using SAP adapter, we are reducing the time, we are reducing the cost also, and it is easier from operation standpoint as well. And we will also see it as an action when I demo it using SAP AI adapter. So I think with this, we will move toward the demo part of how a third-party connectivity adapter solves the problem in real time. And we also have a demo related to content where there also we are covering the part of how these adapters help in connectivity. Okay, before we move to that part, I think it's also good to explain how we can find these adapters in SAP ecosystem or where we can say Business Hub. So if I go to my SAP Business Accelerator Hub, which is a very common page for every consultant individual working in SAP world ecosystem. So here we find all the relevant information related to SAP products. And if I click on integration here, where we can find all the information related to integration of these applications, of SAP applications, and even third-party applications. So that is important. It is not just for your SAP application, it is also from the perspective of how you can integrate that particular SAP application to a third-party application like Salesforce, like Coupa, or Jira for that matter. All these information is also accessible in the same Business Accelerator Hub. And within this, if I go to my adapter section, I will find all the adapters which is available out of the box for our integration need. Yeah, so here is an example of it. And what you can also do is you can also search for it at the very beginning in this search, and you will find those information. And you will also find the information related to this adapter, which will help you understand the connectivity part of it and use it in your project. But you will also find the option of the content available related to it. And I will explain what does it mean when we say content or integration content, because it's very much related to the topic of today and linked directly to the third party connectivity, because at the end, we all need to solve a business um, problem or business. We have to implement the business process using these adapters and connectivity. So we just saw that how we can find these adapters, and then for all the adapters which you just saw there, it is coming up in the market because there's a planned roadmap for it. So what you see on the screen right now is nothing but the roadmap of all the third-party connectivity and their adapters in the coming quarters and years. And if you don't, if you see your application which you are having in your enterprise and you are waiting for it, then it is according to the timeline which it will follow. But if you don't see that application, what you need to do is you can request for that application. And I think we can put a link in the place where you can put that request for your requirement. And from there it can be uh, put in the queue that depending upon how much request comes in. Yeah. Um, so as I was saying, we want to show also a demo of this, how third-party adapters helps in accelerating the connectivity problem. And we have chosen AI adapter here because we also want to give a perspective of how it is not just about solving the problem of connectivity, which it does. It's also about how you can enable uh, AI functionalities or use cases in your integration layer. So we are touching 2 points simultaneously with this demo, and that is something which we'll see it in action. But before we go to the demo part, I think it's also good to understand high level the functionalities of AI adapter, because it is very much relevant to the discussion which every enterprise, every integration team is trying to analyze, or they are already doing it, to see how AI capabilities can help in general the integration in the integration suite, and what capabilities already there in integration suite which can be leveraged. And out of this, one is the AI adapter, which is almost like a gateway for you, for your enterprise, to connect to all the LLM which is there, which is allowed in your enterprise. It helps you in agent orchestration, meaning it can help you speak to different agent, do the orchestration, and then have something specific. It is also useful for agent identity verification. That's also a use case. So few functionalities in the roadmap which will come in coming quarter, but when it comes to agent orchestration and LLM connector, so you can already use those functionality. You can connect to LLMs provided within SAP BTP, and also, for example, from OpenAI services. And there are more coming in coming releases. Okay, so as I was saying, AI adapter almost helps you, is almost like a gateway. So it's not just one use case, there are multiple use cases which you can think of how you can use AI adapter. As I was explaining, to LLM models is one example, boosting efficiency, that how we can have interfaces, live interfaces running, help uh, enhance our knowledge database. That is something which I will also explain while we demo it. Advanced or enhanced error handling is something is the demo which we want to show. So let's keep it for when we actually show it. And extract business insight. This is something which we also see how customers are using it, where they are uh, adding a layer of AI orchestration in their interfaces to get a specific uh, analysis of the transaction which is happening in the live. So it is not changing anything in the transaction. It's more to add a summary of that to that particular. Maybe it can be, for example, for sales order, where we want to get a summary of it as a note in addition to the replication part of it, based on the custom agent or a specific prompt which we want to add there. So these kinds of use cases are also we are seeing which is coming up. But now let's move towards the demo part. So for demo, what we will be doing is we will be replicating uh, a sales order from Salesforce to SAP S/4HANA Cloud. And here we are using our standard integration content for that matter. So as a background, we already have, many of you might know that we have integration content for Salesforce integration. And for in that content, what we have done is we have added an additional layer of AI adapter for error handling, and we will see how it is changing whenever any failure happens in my replication and my integration, how that AI adapter is able to not only give us a possible resolution, but it also brings data from my past incidents and their resolutions for that matter. Okay, so we will create one sales order in Salesforce, and intentionally we have configured it in a wrong way so that it fails in our integration layer, and we will communicate it with handle it with our AI adapter, and we will see how it help us with extra information. So what you see here right now, when we have a failure, our AI adapter will be talking to an agent in the real time based on a certain prompt which has been configured, and it will bring the information of if this kind of error has happened in the past already and what was the possible resolution for it. So this is something which we'll see it in action. So let's go towards the iFlow once just to look for it. Um, So if you see here, this is the integration which we have where we are listening the Salesforce events using Salesforce PubSub adapter here. So it's again our third party uh, connectivity adapter, which is listening the Salesforce live events and replicating the information to the target system, which in this case is my S4HANA. And for exception handling, what we have here is our AI adapter. So it is basically talking to an agent, a custom agent, which knows about all my errors in the past and their resolution. And then from that, it is posting the information to Jira here. Okay. So what I will do is I will go to my one of the sales order, do a change in here, and we will see that failing, and that information will basically flow towards SAP to our Jira with the proper summary of what has happened in the past, how it was resolved using the AI adapter. So let's begin this. I will do a small change here. So demo 2. I changed my sales order. It should get triggered in the background. What it will do is it will try to replicate first the sales order to S/4HANA. And since we have configured in such a way, it will fail. The exception will be caught by my exception handling. It will go towards AI adapter. It will speak to the custom agent, which it is configured for, get the information from it that what was the, was there any error like this in the past? And what was the possible resolution if there's an existing error? So let's see if it is already processed. Yes, 11:29, we see that. So if you see here, it went to our AI adapter here. It is already speaking to an agent here, to an assistant, and based on that, it is bringing the information. And if I go to my Jira, I should have a ticket with the information. Yes, it is here. So if I look at this ticket here, what I see is that my message failed at a certain time. And so it's not just the information of something has failed. And then operation team will have to think about it. Okay, what was the problem? Which team to contact and how to solve it. It is more about now looking at the summary generated by our own agent, which says, okay, hey, is this a known error? Yes, this is a known error and it has happened in the past. What's the description of that error? And the main thing is the resolution details. So here we are getting the information, okay, this error has occurred in the past, which is this one. Which team was responsible to solve it? What was the resolution steps? And how much time it took overall to solve it. So now if you think of it, one, I solved the problem of connectivity to connect with my custom agent via my AI adapter. And on top of it, I was also able to speak to my custom agent, which had the information of all my past issues and also my resolutions to it, right? So this way, we are technically making our integration smarter using our AI adapter. And that's exactly what we are highlighting in this part here, in the last part. So with my AI adapter, we are able to speak to AI agent, which has definitely an LLM access and also knowledge base, which with the information of past issues and the resolution. So now, if we think of it, what we are doing is we are technically talking to an agent in my live interface. But is it the only option which we can do? Since my agent already has information of my known issues and their resolution, the operation team or even the development team can directly speak to that agent as well for their other issues, for any other information which they want to access to that agent. And technically, my agent can also have information of all my governance, my best practices, which as a team we are following, right? So what do we mean by that? We mean that how AI agent can have multiple layers to it, and it can enable not only my runtime interfaces, but also help my developers and my ops team members and other personas in their day-to-day activities. And this is what this overview or let's say summary we would like to talk about high level. So if you think of it, we have an agent layer, which is an ops agent. So you think of it, your operation team talking to the same agent to which my iFlow was talking to when the error happened. So operation team can in live ask all those information through a chat. Hey, is this error occurred in past? What was the resolution? How can we solve it? And since this agent will also have the information of all the governance we as a team are following in terms of development guidelines, best practices, how to develop an interface, any templates which is available. That information, if we have, so you can think of all these agents helping different personas throughout the integration lifecycle. So it's a different sides of the same coin, how we can see it, where our integrations are talking to that agent and all our personas are also talking to that agent or multiple agents, depending upon how we want to set it up. So what we will do is we will have also in coming weeks a LinkedIn live webinar. We will be focusing on this use cases, how we can have an agent or different agents which can help different personas and integration life cycle. Um, uh, and we will try to cover different examples there, but you can think of it from perspective of impacting your design time process, where we are helping developers to build mappings. We are helping in monitoring you in the operation teams and solving errors. And we also would be talking about how we are improving these interfaces in real time using the AI functionalities. So my colleagues will share the link of that LinkedIn live webinar in the chat, and you can register there. We will deep dive into this topic specifically.
So the link we have shared, so that's good. So
Yeah.
and there are also questions on the Q&A at this moment about the adapters and AI.
Yeah.
So I think in order to tackle it, we said we wanted to have a bit of
Yes.
interactiveness. Maybe this is the moment to do it, and then we recap later, and we include the concept about integration content, because there are 4 questions.
Yeah.
So which LLMs are possible to connect right now with the AI adapter?
Mhm.
It is available. If you select the adapter, you can see it, right? But do you know it from the top of your mind? I know it's the OpenAI model that's there, that is supported, the one enabled via the SAP setup, and also now 2 new ones are being added as we speak, I think. So
Correct.
they're now added in the AI adapter capability, the LLMs.
I think you've answered it, Sander, correctly.
Yeah. So we can also share a link with the specific one so that you know it for sure.
Mhm.
Can the adapters be used for migrating integrations from PI to CI, or will developing from scratch is the recommended approach using adapters in CI? So Here, this is very interesting because we have a lot of questions coming in for organizations that are going from PO to CI trajectories, right? And in the past, some adapter capabilities were not there in CI, while organizations migrating needed them. So IBM MQ is an example, file-based adapters like SMB. So the practice is really in the migration to migrate using the same kind of approach, having a standard connector or adapter in PO and use a similar setup in CI, which means that you would migrate to a native adapter that is intended for the application that you connect to, either as source or as receiver. So having IBM MQ or MQ adapters now available in Integration Suite, as well as SMB adapter and more file-based integration adapters, makes it a lot easier to migrate from PO to CI because you can still use those native adapters. So that's a big plus. Then there's a question about the adapter for Maximo. Right now, I believe it's not on the roadmap. But like we shared, the link in the chat, you can request to SAP to include it in the roadmap, and then it can be taken up with higher priority. Last question, maybe to you, Ankit, is like, how do you control AI decisions in regulated environments? So how do you make sure it's still compliant? I guess the question is here, like, how do you control that?
So in this context, I think the example which we showed here is a good example, and I will explain how. So whenever we are connecting to LLM, there we are mostly relying on our prompts, what we are configuring and what the response we are getting based on that prompt. But the other side or the other option is also to use an agent with much more boundaries in that agent, which we configure, and then you communicate with the agent directly rather than directly to an LLM. Because then we are much more in control that what is the purpose of that agent by defining the boundaries, that what it can do, what it cannot do, and what it should never do. So those things help us control the outcome of the, let's put it like AI outcome in our specific use case. And in this use case, what we have done, it is specifically designed for advanced error handling, enhanced error handling, right? So here we have given it already some boundaries saying, hey, you have to always respond in a particular way with this format. So it knows that, okay, what is the purpose of this agent? It is using the capability of LLM, but in a very controlled way. So I think that's the answer to this question.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's good. And at this moment, there's another question coming in. Is the knowledge base accessible in public, and will it also contain customer-related data, or will it only contain integration-specific errors? So I guess this is the question, like, when you talk about the where's the data coming from, like how is that being maintained, and for which enterprise use case it is being applied.
So this is specific to enterprise. So I think we did not cover this probably, but in most of the cases, in most of the enterprises, we have either Jira, ServiceNow, and or any other ticketing tool, right? So idea is to create a knowledge base out of those ticket management tool where we have the issues related to integration and we have resolution also. Because whenever we get tickets, we also document what was the resolution to it, and this should act as a base for us to start with this knowledge base. But the idea is to also use our AI adapter, or you can use AI adapter to make it a live knowledge base, meaning anything which fails in future in production, right? It should also be recorded to that knowledge base at the same time when it is solved, so that you don't have to do this manually to maintain this knowledge base. This knowledge base is a living knowledge base which is helping you solve your problems, which is happening, and also learning from the problems which is occurring in the production for the first time. So that's how we would frame it.
I think now we can bridge to the last topic, which we know we have 5 minutes planned in our session, but we already tackled now quite some questions, right, that we have here. And that's about integration content. So we have discussed about one part of this end-to-end integration, which adapters, very fundamental part about the connectivity towards your third-party SaaS. But now let's look at standardizing this entire end-to-end integration to enable your business processes. And I know we have a few minutes, but if you find this topic and you captivating, you want to know more about it, we did a webinar not so long ago about the whole order to cash process to explain this and operations as well, how it's being automated with integration content. So that will be a good reference to look into. But let's give a short recap or short overview on integration content, and then any remaining questions that we have, we will tackle at the end.
Yeah. So I will try to keep it high level and give an understanding of why integration content is important for enterprises when we look at third-party integrations and third-party connectivity. So what we understood in the first part here is that how we can solve the problem of connectivity using the third-party adapters. But why we are even solving these connectivity problems? So it's mostly to solve a particular business process integration, which is needed by the business, right? And that is exactly what integration content is about. So it is using these third-party connectors, but with the knowledge of business process embedded in it. So if I take example of order to cash, which Sandra was talking about, I need to replicate master data, I need to replicate transactional data, and then my business processes somewhere we are, it's working, right? And that is what integration content offers you. It already pre-built integration with mapping logic in it, orchestration logic in it, for all these master and transactional data, based on the common way of working, and which enterprise can or integration team can adopt, enhance it whenever needed, depending upon the customization needed for the specific business requirement, and use it. So it is already solving the problem of not starting from scratch, working out every mapping, working out every business process. You already have a base. So you're starting from 70 to 80% of your work and then trying to cover the gap which is there depending upon your business process. And that is what integration content offers. So if you think of it, it is bringing a lot of benefits overall from integration project standpoint. It is faster to implement, so I'm reducing my implementation time from almost um, years or months to weeks, which I will show example of also. I'm reducing my risk because I don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. I'm accelerating the migration process also by using the patterns which we know are already working for many more customers. We have less efforts which we have to put in, and it can be used by anyone right away from Business Accelerator Hub. So that's how easy it is. And you have to just start working on the gaps part of it rather than starting from the scratch development for those business process. Here is a glimpse of, we have quite many integration content which is available in the integration suite, but from third-party connectivity, you see on your screen right now, the one which is available from SignaView, Workday, Salesforce, a very common one which is used across customer, and you see many more applications in the down bar, and you can find the one which you're looking for in Business Accelerator Hub, as I explained in my in the beginning of the session, that how you can find information related to integration in Business Accelerator Hub, including both adapters as well as content. I don't think we will be able to cover the demo part, but here we wanted to show you how we can easily replicate a sales order from my Salesforce to S4HANA, the way we were trying to build it for the agent for advanced error handling. Here, the idea was to actually create a sales order and replicate it to S4HANA to see how it solves the problem of integration and business process in real time. And that is coming out of the box in integration suite. So I think this is this part we have to skip in respect of time. But we want to talk about a customer story here, which is related to integration content. So it is about a car manufacturer where we implemented Coupa integration content, and it drastically reduced the time of implementation. So we were almost able to go towards UAT phase in 4 weeks, because we had to just focus on the gaps part, which was identified in the analysis phase. 80% of the functionalities were covered out of the box, so you don't have to build those from scratch. You were just focusing on the gaps and testing them. And all these integrations are built on the basis of best practices, which is recommended by SAP. So it is real time in nature. There's no batch processing or file based integrations. It is mostly based on events and OData APIs on the either side. And that's how it helps the customer to go live within almost 6 weeks for this particular integration content, and it solved their procure to pay process problem, which was needed for them in an accelerated way. So this is an example of how integration content can help you in real life. And we have many more stories like this, which we can discuss. If you want to hear, feel free to get in touch with us. We can explain how it can help you in your specific use case. So I think here we are. Once again, I will highlight the key takeaways from this session. One is that Integration Suite is the answer for all your third-party connectivity in your ecosystem. That's one. And there's a lot of reason why you should be using third-party adapters, application-specific adapters, rather than going for a custom-made solution using HTTP or open connectors. And how we also understood is that how a adapter can help you connect with your LLMs, agents, and make your integration smarter. And the last, which we just saw, is how prepackaged content solves your business process integration requirement in a much accelerated way. So this is the key takeaways for this session. As I was saying, we have a LinkedIn Live coming in where we will talk more about how AI can be embedded in your integration layer, and also how AI can enable different personas in your integration team. So it will be a complete deep dive in the world of how agentic AI is transforming the SAP Integration Suite landscape. So feel free to sign in for it, and you will be most welcome to join this. And as a part of this session, so everyone who is joining, they can also request for an integration assessment of their landscape by reaching out to us via the website. Also, feel free to scan this QR code. So this will be available for a limited time. So feel free to use it, and we will be more than happy to help you with this assessment, and we can take the discussion further. So I think looking at time, we are already 3 minutes over.
Yeah, we're 3 minutes over. Thank you, Ankit,
Yeah.
for explaining this in detail.
Yeah.
I expect this very insightful for the people joining in the call. 2 more questions have been added about X.400 adapter. I answered it related to the roadmap, when it's scheduled in the roadmap, which is now planned for Q4. And about AI adapter and configurations, like, yeah, you can configure this according to which LLM you want to use. The scenario that Ankit described about embedding the AI enablement in the content is something that we kind of do on request, yeah, because you have to think about a lot of factors in order to pull such scenario off. But the capabilities are there, available in CI, and with adapter and your configuration, you can set things up. But related to the standard integration content, that can definitely be extended as well and customized. So that is that's an option. Like the topic that Ankit just presented, you can take your order to cash transactional and master data integration content scenarios and extend them, customize them. Actually, that's what we're doing a lot with our clients to discuss specific requirements and to get that last 20 to 10% to make sure it matches fully your scenario, and it can be started and deployed and automating your business process. Look at this. I think we have no further questions in. I want to thank you so much for your time, for the questions in the chat. And let's keep in mind, 77% of all the revenue transactions in this world, they touch SAP. So let's do it right. Let's integrate right. Thank you for attending, and we will complete the event. Wish you a good day. Thank you,
everyone.
Bye.